Shyam Abrams, for those of you who don't know, she's from Nedbank, and of course, I'm Andre Engel. I'm the principal at Wesley Methodist Practicing School. We'll navigate through our slideshow as quickly as we possibly can. Right.
Mentioned Shyam from Nedbank. So when I started this program, I enrolled with the understanding that we were on a leadership program. Being what I think a young person at Nedbank, jumped at the opportunity, and the first task I was given was to choose a school on the list. And my first thought was I grew up in the Salt River community, which was and still is a disadvantaged community. So I so much wanted to choose my primary school, which was Dryden Street Primary School, but unfortunately they weren't on the list. So my next best decision would have been any other school in Salt River. So I chose Wesley Street, Wesley Primary School. And so the meaning for me is slightly different as to the meaning for Andre as to why we're on this program. How I remember Wesley Street Primary School, it was a college for practicing teachers. It was the school that children like ourselves couldn't go to because our parents couldn't afford to send us to such a great school. And then almost 30 years later, seeing the school, I was totally shocked. It was a completely different school. It needed so much attention. Materially, it was just neglected. The type of students that went there didn't look like they were of the community at all. And I think I was quite moved, and I just thought to myself, this was the right choice for me, because I do want to make, even if it's a small, noticeable difference, I do want to make some sort of change and leave my mark. And I was surprised to see how disconnected the community was from the school. And I also learned that my partner or my principal was new to the school, was new to this community, and I thought to myself, shucks, this guy's got such a big task ahead of him, because there's so much that has changed, so much work that he needed to do, and he was new, so I could just imagine, what he was going through. So some of the challenges that, as we started this partnership, some of the challenges that we identified was that the school belonged to a Methodist church, and whatever changes materially, maintenance-wise, we needed to do, we'd need to speak to someone at the Methodist church, get an ear from them, and get the approval. And this took forever. So I think our goal changed all the time from one thing to the other. But challenges that we did identify were things like the kids that went to the school weren't from the community. So how are we going to get the community involved in the school and try to want to be a part of fixing it up, repairing it, and restoring it to the way I remembered it as a kid? So we thought of ways, and obviously there were courses along the way that helped us to do all of these things. And so it changed from trying to lift the morale of the school, trying to fix up the school, to looking and focusing on the migrant workers or the foreigners that were actually at the school and their kids, trying to uplift them and trying to educate them and help them with the language, because there was language barriers as well. So those were the challenges we identified, and we ended up doing something completely different.
My expectations were a little bit more vain. I heard Nedbank and I thought computers and furniture and all sorts of wonderful things and new jerseys and new tracksuits and new everything. I did also realize that there would be some sort of training happening somewhere along the line, so I was looking forward to that. But I think if you just move on to that slide, Shyam, our partnership is really only starting. I think you mentioned it, Mark, and there's so much that cannot be done within a year, although there's a lot that you can do. So I think we've really only just sort of scratched the surface of what can be done. But for us, our partnership was about building a trusting relationship. Like Shyam said, we're both relatively young. She grew up in the area, and we also have young children and young families. So our time's not our own. So we need to first see to the kids, or get home and go fetch the children from school, and make sure that they're swimming and hockey and all those sorts of things before we can really sit down and start cracking with what we want to do. So she mentioned earlier that we really struggled to identify a particular focus because of my situation being so new in the community, and that changed a little bit. So we really only at the dawn of our partnership. So if you can just move on with the slide. We mentioned all of those things, and if you can just go on to the next one. So we identified those ones, started with staff morale and professional development, and we felt that that was really needed at Wesley Methodist Practicing School because the teachers were not behaving the way I wanted them to behave. And coming from Wynberg Boys Junior School, technology is important, and we must have tablets in the classrooms and all of those things. And then also we need to have all sorts of sports happening at school because that is what good schools do. But ultimately, you know, as we really became integrated, or I became integrated in the community, I understood that the needs of this community is so different from what I'm used to. And if I didn't listen to that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm supposed to be doing on this particular course. And she mentioned earlier that our community has changed dramatically, and for many of our learners, their home language is not English. And we struggle in systemic assessments, like Tanya mentioned earlier, because it's in English. And for our learners, English is maybe a third language that they actually speak, so they don't understand the content of what they're reading and the questions that they need to answer. So we shifted our focus, and you said we need to invest in something more meaningful, and our idea is to create a space where we can improve the learner's command of English, where they can actually read with understanding and they can communicate effectively. And what we eventually ended up doing is really only the catalyst of what we think is going to be a significant improvement in the lives of these learners. Okay, so these are the things that we've achieved the year, and worth mentioning. So initially we said we wanted to improve the staff morale, and for some reason, you know, organically that happened. You know, people became happier, more enthusiastic, and these are the things that I think contributed to that. So first of all, the staff was a little bit more settled. This year, 2019, was the first year that this school actually started with a known staff establishment. In other words, there was no new teachers starting this year, or like in the past there was classes, or there were classes without teachers. So this was the first time that we actually knew last year what was going to happen this year. So you could actually sit down properly and plan and say, you in that class, this is what we're going to do term 1, day 1, and that sort of thing. So I think that made a contribution. Coupled with that was something that I needed to work on, which was my leadership style, which is very much, I'm going to do something and you're with me or you're not. So I needed to change that a little bit about me, and I think I became better at that, in that I engaged the SMT and the SGB a little bit better. So the direction was clear, and everyone understood where we were going, and not just me thinking everyone knows where we're going. Through the process of flawless consulting, I was able to, at the end of last year, contract with every member of staff and created a job description specific to that particular person. So in terms of the PAM, which is the document that sort of guides what teachers should do, something that, for instance, they would say is you need to do at least 2 hours of extramurals every week. And I just clarified that, and I said, you need to do soccer on a Tuesday and on a Thursday. So there's no gray area for you, and you need to do computer enrichment on a Wednesday and a Monday. So those were the things that you sort of clarified, and everyone knew when they walked into the school on day 1 what they needed to do and how they will be measured at the end of the year. We celebrated our achievements, and we created opportunity for team building. That's a photo of our staff, or some of them. We participated in some 5-kilometer walk or some sort, I can't remember what it was now. And we created this little wall here called superheroes. So not all superheroes wear capes, which is quite funny for the staff members. Just moving on. Another achievement, well, one of the things that we wanted to do was ICT in learning and teaching, and we were fortunate that we were able to revamp our computer lab. We got 15 new machines, and we downloaded educational software, and we also have data projectors in class now, so we can actually, learners don't have to come to class only for ICT. We can actually do that in class as well, so we can take technology and really integrate it into learning and teaching. Next one, Shia. This is the thing that we really wanted, the full co-curricular program. We've got a full sporting program. We play soccer, boys and girls. We've got athletics, cross-country, a bit of netball, and we got dance, hip-hop dancing. We've got drama club, we've got choir, we've got chess as well. Significantly, our hip-hop dancers won a dance competition. Our choir came third in the choir competition. Our under-9 boys won the soccer boys won the league. And we put on this show called Hello Mr. Elephant, which has never happened at the school before. So that was significant in that it created within these learners a sense of achievement. I've done well, I can showcase more than just my ability to read or write. I can actually be seen by everyone. So that has been significant for us. And then this is the one that we're really going to go with. We were able to source some materials for us, and then got these little, I don't know if it's quite clear, but got these little cabinets made. They're little cabinets about this size on wheels, and there's one of that in every classroom, and we stocked them with books like that. We have been able to collect over 700 books, age-appropriate books, and there's one in every classroom. So our learners who are unable to really speak English appropriately now have access to reading material, which they never had because we don't have a school library. On top of that, we also just enrolled in the Shine Literacy program, which will start in 2020, which is really a program that is aimed at creating spaces within a school where learners can improve their literacy levels. So that's a program driven by parents, mostly training for teachers, but mostly driven by parents. So we'll have a space in our school next year where parents can come in and volunteers and help our learners with reading and writing.
So just to share what I'm taking away from this whole experience. So firstly, I've met wonderful people, including Paul, a wonderful coach, and then my partner Andre, so that is a wonderful experience to have met these people. And then secondly, the things I remember are, and I'm going to remember, and what I take away from it, I have been using and will use it every day of my life at work, dealing with people, dealing with clients, dealing with my family and friends. So if I look at, and I just think back to the 3 courses we did, the time to think, there I sort of realized that I'm not there to perform a miracle with Andre at the school. I'm there to learn a skill, to just to think differently, and to be there for Andre and listen to him and be his thinking partner and come up with solutions or ways, or just even if it means we're venting for frustrations, all of these sort of things. That's what that course meant to me. In terms of flawless consulting, that is something I use often because I'm in a banking environment, so we're always consulting with people, we consult with clients, we consult with management, we consult with colleagues, and I've taken away so much there, and I've been practicing and using that almost every day in my workspace as well in my family life, and it's really helped me. And then also I think the idea of just being part of a project excited me, and knowing that I had this task to do and something to look forward to and to make that difference. I can just almost picture every child picking up that book and, knowing that they're learning to speak English, read English, and it's just making a small difference in their lives. Makes me feel so good inside. And then also, Andre and myself needed to do all of this together. We couldn't do this on our own, and you kind of realize everything that you want to accomplish in life, it just comes by so much quicker if you work as a team.
So what I've mentioned, for me, the third one is the most important one. All those wonderful things, I think, you can pick that up at most the programs that you do, but the third one, the realization that I cannot do everything, I think that has been the most important, and that has contributed to the success that we've achieved, because I've been able to delegate and say to people, look, you're competent, you're good enough, I back you, go and do what you need to do. And that has changed because people have developed a sense of pride in what they're doing and a sense of ownership, and I think that has been the game changer. And I learned that while doing this particular course. And then the second one comes in a close second, being part of community of professionals. Like you mentioned, we knew no one, and then all of a sudden, I have access to safety officer. I was able to tap into Lucille's resources, and she sent someone to come and help us with counseling. I can call Kevin when I don't know what to do, when Ms. Christian wants something from me. Say, what does this woman want, Kevin? So I can call him. So there's this just immediate network that wasn't there before we started this program. So if you just move on to the next one. There's actually some voice notes, but I'm going to skip that. Some teachers were forced to say good things about me, so I'm just going to skip that one. As you can see, that particular comment was written by my HOD, and that is what I just asked her to just organically write something that she thinks has changed within me, and she wrote that, I'm pleased to know that you've now learned to delegate duties and trust individuals. And that was I just asked her to write something, and it's exactly the same in what I said earlier on. And if you just move on. Right, and I think this is what the future holds for us. I think I'm more excited about the literacy program, and I'm going to tap into the resources of Nedbank. In terms of the last one, we use the IQMS system to monitor the progress of teachers. I find that it's a bit too generic, so we were talking along the lines of developing something to supplement that, something that is very specific to our school, which we can do throughout the year as opposed to sort of a once-off process at the end of a term. So looking forward to that particular project going forward, and that's basically it.
I think I'm looking more forward to the Lind experience. I just also want to say thank you very much, Andre. Andre's actually become a really good friend of mine. We talk about other things more than about the school, actually. And surprisingly, I actually thought I was going to be the person from Nedbank making the difference, but Nedbank's gone through so many challenging times this year, and I must admit, Andre's really been a support, and even more so has Paul been there for me. So I also want to just add and say thank you to you for that as well. Thank you.